Hi guys, this is another way for us to measure angles online. This is a program that we can use. This one is a little bit more straightforward because the center of the protractor is always going to be in line with the angle. In real life, you're obviously going to have to move your protractor around, but for practice, this might be easier for you to get started with because you can't move the protractor anywhere aside from being right in the vertex of the angle. So the first step would be to line up one of these two sides of the protractor with one of these two lines in your angle. You'll notice one side has a 0 and one side has a 180, and so does the other side. You're going to have to use your brain a little bit to figure out when you're measuring which number would make more sense. So let's say I'm starting here. I'm obviously going to be starting at the 0, not the 180. So that means when I go forward, I'm counting up. So when I look over here, by the time I get here, I'm not looking at this bottom number. And I could also think, well, this is a pretty obtuse angle, so it's going to be more than 90. So I'm going to be looking at this top number, not the bottom number. Or I can know I'm starting from the beginning, so I'm counting up by tens, just like on a ruler, you would start at 0 and count up. So the bigger lines, they go by 10. Then you have these kind of mid marks in between to mark your 5s. And then in between them, from each 10 in between, there's going to be 10 little dashes. So I can go all the way up to here. I see I have my 130 here, 131, 132, 133, 134. And I see this bigger line here, which means there's 135 here, and it hasn't quite touched it. So I'm going to guess that it's 134. And we got it correct. I'm going to do one more with you guys. You can line it up with the other side if you want. So you could go the other way. And I wouldn't be starting at 180, right? I would be starting at my 0 mark. So I would go at this bottom row, not the top row, because when we measure, we start from 0 and go up. So you can go 0, 10, 20, 30, so on and so forth. I mean, I'm looking at it and it looks bigger than a right angle. So I know it's going to be bigger than that 90 degrees. 90. And make sure you don't start counting backwards, right? This isn't going to be like a 68-degree angle. I'm looking at this bottom set of numbers because I started here and I went over. So 100, 110, 111, I'm going to guess 112. And we got it correct. And that precision, that means how close you were to getting the correct answer. I got it within the exact number. You want to try and get your precision within, I would say, 2 or 3 degrees. If it's more than 5 degrees, then you're not reading the protractor correctly. With this one, and it's also tempting to just kind of see that it's in line and just pick one of these numbers and say, it looks like it's 68 degrees. But you have to make sure you're lining up the 0 with one end or the other end. Otherwise, you're not actually measuring anything. You're just holding up a protractor to an angle. So you hold it up, and it might, again, be tempting to just look and say, oh, it's like near the 120, so it's 122 degrees. But this is where estimating angles is helpful. This is definitely an acute angle, so it's going to be smaller than 90 degrees. So I'm going to look at that bottom set of numbers, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and it doesn't quite touch the 60. It looks like it's either 1 or 2 behind. So I'm going to say 68. Oh, I made a mistake. I said it was 68, but it didn't even touch the 60. It was supposed to be 58. That was my mistake. So I wasn't that precise. I was 10 off because I made a mistake with reading it. 68 would have been over here. 58 is over here. And the last one, I'm looking at this, it looks like it's right about at a right angle. It's going to be pretty close to 90 degrees. So that means I need to make sure I'm really paying attention to if it's a little bit more or a little bit less than 90. And the way I'm going to do that is I know I'm going to start with 0, and I'm going to pay attention to if I'm using my top numbers to count up or my bottom numbers to count up, depending on which side I hold my protractor at. So I'm going to hold it on this side, and I'm going to be using my top numbers on this one, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and it goes a little bit past the 90, and I can't see that longer line, so that means I'm thinking it goes right on the 95. I hope this was helpful for using this online tool with using protractors. If you have a protractor at home, you can use it the same exact way. You're just going to have to physically move this middle point close to the vertex, line it up to one of the lines, and make sure you're reading that correct number. Right? This is a small angle, so it wouldn't be in the hundreds. It would be close to like 12 or 13. All right, keep up the good work, mathematicians.